So Temitope Olugbile is here from Financial Derivatives Company. She was here on Tuesday to bring us up to speed what were some of the big issues we came in through over the weekend on Monday. Then it's been a 3-day so far this week, so now we're entering the 4th day. We need to get back into the marketplace, talking about oil, talking about the agro-commodities. But first, what are the burning economic issues? Good morning, Temitope. It's good to have you back here. Okay, take us through this. Looks like a very nice little list. Yeah. Some positive news, some not so sweet.
Yes, so the first on our burning issues for this morning is the CBN's reading on the PMI, which Purchasing Managers Index, and we found that their reading, according to their reading, the PMI declined by 0.69% to 57.4 points, and then obviously oil will remain a burning issue for now. Oil is at about $66 per barrel, and that's up 8% in the last 2 weeks. And then we have that our external reserves have continued this downward decline, and it's now at $45.08 billion. Another burning issue is that on-grid power output is below 4,000 megawatts per hour. And the last on our burning issues is that Naira has appreciated marginally to 361 Naira per dollar at the parallel market.
Yes, if you ask me what I'm seeing on the TV screen, the first item should trigger a bit of a warning. This is the first time in about 28 consecutive months or so that a PMI, the central bank PMI index, is coming down, and this is quite. We're still in good territory, positive territory at 57.4.
Definitely, we're still in the expansion region. It's just that it expanded at a slower rate.
At a slower rate.
And so if you take last month, the CBN's reading expanded at a faster rate, but the FBN Quest reading crashed to about 50 points. But what was interesting in the reading for 2 months now, the CBN's reading in particular, was that if you look at the sub-indices, so there are 5 sub-indices used to calculate the overall PMI index, and so we found that new orders and raw material inventory sub-indices, they expanded at a slower rate. So basically they declined in the month of May and June, and I feel like that's interesting because it could be for a number of reasons. It just shows that maybe the manufacturers are not importing as much, or their outlook on consumer demand is in the next 3 months is not very optimistic. It could be that they are making some adjustments according to this new exchange rate for custom duty. It could be a number of reasons.
One very important point you mentioned in there, new orders. Yes. It's a big one where you're looking at a PMI. If you're looking at, even if you look at other jurisdictions like the issues of supply management in the US, new factory orders is a very important component of your PMI or your sales managers index, because it means a lot. Because if you're not ordering new inventories, if you're not ordering raw materials or machinery as industries or manufacturing, that means there's a problem somewhere. Like you rightly put it, is either your outlook on sales or consumer spending is a little bit negative or weak. Or there's a big problem. Then you look at inventories as well, which is the flip side of your new orders. Which is, if your inventories, hold on, something must be going on here. Definitely. We need to unpack that PMI a little bit further. But let's go straight to the downers and the what you call the goodies. Oil prices goodies. I was head scratching this morning, looking at 67. Perhaps we'll likely get to 70 before the first week of July meeting of OPEC.
I'm not really sure about the 70.
I'm always happy guy.
We're still pessimistic about, basically it will stay at current levels at $66 per barrel ahead of the OPEC meeting. But that's good for external reserves. It could be like a turning point for external reserves, because we've seen approximately 0.1% decline in the last week in our external reserves. But for the downers, we have that. So the MBS was supposed to release the unemployment figures for Q4 18 and Q1 19 on Tuesday, but it wasn't released as scheduled, and that for us it's a downer for us. And then we also have that a declining PMI could be an indication of slowing growth in Q2 for both general GDP growth and the manufacturing sector growth, which is currently at 0.81%. As at the last quarter.
Looking at the screen right there, on the right column under the downers, the first item was the unemployment data that Statistics Office failed to release, which is the labor force statistics.
Yes, and it's a very important
barometer.
Yes, exactly. It's a very important indicator. And the last release we got was in December 2018, and that was till Q3 18. We need to know what the unemployment rate is, states across the federation, and then the general unemployment rate. That will tell you, the misery index of your citizens. It's a very important socio-economic indicator, basically.
We need to find out why the Statistics Office failed to release the labor force data as they planned to do the last few days. We need to find out what is happening there at the MBS, perhaps the data are not complete. But let's go to the marketplace. And sometimes I like checking in with the marketplace. Perhaps I have a little idea of what my wife is doing with the money that goes in there. So I just say, but wait, say, okay, yeah, let's just check in here. Just keep me in the know.
Okay, so
I'm a member of the team. So when I consume, when I have breakfast, dinner, whatever, I have an idea of what I'm consuming. The basket of tomato is the one that some folks were head scratching at the editorial meeting yesterday.
Yes, so according to our last survey yesterday, yes, it's high, and then it's not even readily available. A lot of consumers are complaining about the scarcity of tomatoes and pepper.
Fresh tomatoes.
Yes, fresh tomatoes and pepper, and you know that is of course causing the spike in prices. And we also have the yam.
Oh, we're discussing 19,000 yesterday.
Yes. And now
20,000.
We're up to 20,000.
A basket, just a basket of tomatoes, 20,000.
Yes, and that's even if you see it's available. It's a scarcity.
20,000
naira.
That's about an 80% of my minimum wage. It hasn't been paid. This is more than the current minimum wage, 18.5, right?
Yes, exactly. It's definitely more than the current one.
The current minimum wage, which we negotiated, was 18.5. Now you just need to borrow. I need to get another 1,500 from you.
Before you can buy.
You can buy one basket of tomatoes with my minimum wage for the month of June.
Yes, so it's definitely.
Then I've got to look for transport money to take it home.
Definitely, so it's definitely a downer for the average consumer. You know, those kind of commodities are important in any Nigerian's food basket. You would find tomatoes and peppers. So definitely.
Surprisingly, we've done a year low of 6,000 naira per basket.
Yes.
How did we get from 6,000 to 20,000 per basket of tomato?
So when you have things like shortages in the key producing states, of course, they're coupled with the planting season.
I got it.
It's time, you know, definitely when there are shortages, it becomes expensive. It skyrockets to 20,000 naira per basket.
Rice has always been a conversation. Flour is also trending higher. Yes. Pepper is trending higher. Bring it back, guys. Let's see that. A bag of pepper, red pepper, I guess, moved almost 2,000 up.
A bag of red pepper, yes, now 8,500 naira per bag. So you have that. And we've gone from a 1 year low of 5,000 naira per bag to 8,000, our current level of 8,500. So definitely the average Nigerian consumer is suffering but smiling.
Yeah, I just hope my wife isn't watching this show by now, because she'll be saying, well, now you see what I'm talking about? That's
expensive.
That's your pepper, your tomato, and all of that going up.
Now.
And they say, well, you have to top up the monthly, and payday is just around the corner.
Well,
I think I may just have shot myself in the foot by going through this one. I didn't know. If I knew, I wouldn't have let us go through this part of the conversation. That's a basket of tomato there, right? Yeah. That's 20,000. That gentleman was just carrying on.
Yes, that's what he's.
That's 20,000
naira.
What's the value of the naira, by the way?
It's really expensive. That's just it. And I feel like there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight for, you know, the skyrocketing of tomatoes and pepper.
But again, it provides a business opportunity, because if I just have about 5 of those tomato baskets, give me 100,000 naira.
Yes, but you know, before you be able to transport it, but exactly before you can transport it down to the marketplace, the logistic cost, the everything, of course, which you'll have factored into your 20,000.
And the wastes that come through transportation and all of that.
Exactly, you have to factor into the ones that get destroyed in the process.
So the ones that get to the market, like mile 12, mile 2, wherever, in places like Lagos and elsewhere, that's what we're paying for, logistic infrastructure problem. No, let's talk about roads anymore. I think I'm just getting a lot more upset with all these things. Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Whatever it is, by the time we're having this handshake again, let's see what happens to the price of tomato and rice. and everything else. Temitope, thank you so much. Olubile, a member of the think tank economic team at Financial Derivatives Company. So folks are asking a question. What's all this about the Airtel IPO offering in the UK, also in Nigeria? What else is next for retail investors who are asking a question? If I don't have deep pockets, how do I buy the shares?